Well, Keisha, this is great. I meet you for the first time virtually. That makes a lot of sense in the age we live in.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I'm also an alum as well, so it's nice to interview an alum that's doing great things. So thanks for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
Nice setup in the background.
Thank you.
That's the thing nowadays. You really have to bring the background game.
Yeah, you do. It's yeah, like you said, everything with the day and age we live now. It's like, yeah, I'm like sometimes I forget what's back there, but I'm all about fashion, so of course I'm like my background in my office space has to bring me joy and excitement.
Now, are those Christmas lights in the closet there, or
Those are actually they're called fairy lights.
okay,
So they're like fairy lights, like people put them in their room and things like that. I'm the type like at night, like I need to sleep in complete darkness. So this
okay.
is like my office space. So I would never put like these fairy lights in my bedroom because it needs to be pitch black when I'm sleeping. No TV on, no nothing.
So yeah,
But
you
yeah, they're
could.
called fairy lights, and I get them from Amazon.
Oh
Like
yeah,
second place where I spend all my money. It's awful.
it's great though, right?
I know it is. It's so convenient. I even get my groceries from there.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Right.
2008 graduate. Yeah, you're so let's break down what you're doing right now. Fashion designer, Girls Chronically Rock, and founder of the GCR Adaptive Project. So let's start with the first one, the Girls Chronically Rock, which is a great name.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, Girls Chronically Rock, I started in 2017. So as you probably know, I did study fashion design and merchandising at Framingham State University. So in school, I love like going to classes, sewing and things like that. So I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and own my own business and kind of be like the successful, fashion designer. I looked up to designers such as Betsy Johnson, Kimora Lee Simmons, and Tommy Hilfiger.
Hmm.
And so, of course, as you know, life takes a unexpected turn. So it was around 2010 when I was actually getting my master's degree at Cambridge College, where I started to get symptoms within my body. And that kind of just came out of nowhere, honestly. So I was just like, what's going on with my body? Like, I would be walking, I would repeatedly fall, or, just things weren't adding up. And
Hmm.
so I go to the doctors, they kind of examine me and tell me, we need to do some testing because it might be something more neuromuscular. So at that time, with all the testing and results, it came back that I was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. And my type specifically is called limb girdle muscular dystrophy. And what that is, it pretty much affects like the neck down to pretty much the feet. So,
Hmm.
like for instance, if I was to meet you in person and you're gonna try to give me a handshake, it's kind of hard to like say extend out my arm to give you that handshake unless like I kind of get like some support from it. But it definitely has been challenging. So at that time, of course, as you can imagine, I'm like, here I am. Just I feel like I just graduated Framingham, getting my master's degree because I want to get like more of the business side of it. I'm like, I want to be the successful fashion designer, but I'm like, now what does my future hold?
Hmm.
What is going to happen? And just looking back of like how much I feel like I took for granted. I'm like just being at Framingham State. I was at Horace Mann dorm, walking up the flights of stairs on the third floor of with my groceries, things for school, books, backpacks. And it's like, wow. And it's like now it's like I wouldn't even be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so I was in denial for quite some time, not knowing again what the future hold, what was going to happen. And so after some time of kind of like opening up, start blogging about my symptoms of what I was going through, I was like, you know what? I'm a true believer in things do happen for a reason. So I thought I can still kind of do my fashion business, but kind of maybe pivot a little bit.
Hmm.
So I thought, let me try to create something that kind of inspires and motivate others in the disability community. So I start why not start with a t-shirt line? Because I love graphic t-shirts. I love wearing different graphic t-shirts with like different meanings, different things like that. And so I wanted to create something of kind of like what I was feeling through my journey of, being diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. So that's how Girls Chronically Rock was kind of founded. And how I came up with the name is that I kind of just a lot of my creative ideas come to me when I'm sleeping. So, when I'm sleeping, I knew I wanted something with the word chronic in it for chronic illnesses, but I didn't know how I wanted to incorporate it. So I honestly was just lying in bed one night. I thought Girls Chronically Rock. It sounded empowering,
Yeah.
powerful. And then I just kind of ran with it from there. And then I started off with Etsy, selling them on there. And then I'm like, you know what? It's time to get a actual website. So then that's when it, officially launched. But that's when Girls Chronically Rock was formed.
That's fantastic. I mean, you took a negative and turned it into a double positive.
Yeah, I try. I
Yeah.
try.
So I have to imagine you've inspired a lot of people that have reached out to you and have ordered shirts from you. You must have heard a lot of stories.
I have, and that's honestly what keeps me motivating and inspired myself. Because I don't look at myself like, oh yeah, like the description may say, oh yeah, Keisha's a motivatable speaker or inspiring, but it's like, I'm just like the same old girl. It's like whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not like this celebrity. I'm not trying to, inspire or like, yes, I'm looking to inspire, but it's like I'm like, oh, like it gives me joy when I do get messages or people write to me like, "Oh, Keisha, I understand and I love your story," or my friend, my family member has MS or muscular dystrophy, and that makes me feel so good because it's like, oh, like they understand my mission and my movement, and I appreciate, those messages I get. And then, of course, when I get an order placed, from someone, even just supporting a family member or friend that has, a disability or chronic illness, and that could be from MS, muscular dystrophy, lupus, so many different, like, invisible and invisible disabilities that are out
Yeah.
there. And so when I get like those orders placed, I'm like, oh, that makes me feel so good. And so I love placing orders. I do everything from right here in my office space, package and everything up. But I love just getting those messages. It just definitely makes me feel good.
And now with the technology we have, you can connect with people, I would say a lot easier. So this is a good time in what you're doing to have it happen now in the 2022 and 23, and who knows what's going to happen with the technology as it grows.
Yeah, definitely agree. And this is like when this pandemic happened, yes, it was unfortunate, but it just kind of opened up everyone's eyes. Because, like you said, with the technology, we can do everything online, virtual. And it's like this is something that myself and us people in the disability community have been requesting for so long. I mean,
Yeah.
look how easy it was. It's like you see how it wasn't so hard. I had a job in the past of I was working for Tommy John, and I was doing merchandising at the store, and I specifically requested accommodations because my muscular dystrophy progressed in, and I was able to walk then, but with a cane. And because of those certain accommodations, they let me go. And so
Yeah.
that was heartbreaking because I'm like, see, this is why people come with someone with a disability may not come forward and be so honest. Cause it's like, look at, I tell you what's going on with me. And then you kind of like dismiss me and don't accommodate me in my accommodation. So I'm like, look at that to see how the world just pivot during the time, like see school now, doctor's appointments you can virtually. And I'm like, see, was that so hard? It's like, it can be done.
Yeah, that's a great point because I don't think people realize that in your situation, I mean, a lot of people are grateful that they can work remote, but there were opportunities lost for people who were disabled or for any
Yeah,
reason. But yeah, I'm always amazed that that was an obvious idea and we had the technology, yet there was such resistance to it.
right.
Maybe it had to do
And
with trust that,
maybe that's a
afraid
good
people
point.
weren't going to work hard from home. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, to me, as long as you're doing the work, it's like,
yeah,
who cares where you're working from?
I agree. Yeah, I definitely agree. Now,
Yeah.
you brought this partnership to Framingham State, so would love to hear about that.
Yes, so that's when the GCR adaptive project comes in place.
Yep.
That is my nonprofit. That is my second baby. I tell everyone that's kind of like the spin-off of Girls Chronically Rock. So what that is that I wanted to create something to incorporate also where the school I graduated from, Framingham State. So I remember I reached out to like think the fashion department, all the professors that I think I had when at that time were like totally gone. And so I was like, you know what, I want to present this GCR adaptive project because I feel like it's so important for the fashion programs to kind of incorporate and know what it's like to create adaptive, accessible fashion for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, here I was in school, I learned a lot at Framingham, but it's like at the time I also didn't have a disability. I also wasn't thinking adaptive fashion or accessibility. Is this button gonna work, for me to get dressed on a daily basis, or is that button gonna work from open and closing the door? So it's like my whole perspective has changed. But of course, I'm still always about fashion. And
Yeah.
so that's when I reached out to Framingham, and I was so excited when I heard back from Professor Singhi. I always pronounce her name wrong.
Mhm.
Sorry, but yes, and I was so grateful that she reached back out, and we've been doing the program now. So I want to say for about 3 years. So I'm hoping we can pick it back up of the fall of this year, 2023. But I've been working with great students, and again, like you said, with this technology, we were able to do it virtually
Yeah.
because of course Framingham is kind of like the ride or the accessible lift doesn't go all the way to Framingham. So it was like I was unable to come exactly in person, but I was grateful that Professor Singh who was able to do it virtually. I was able to talk to the students, let them know my everyday struggles of getting dressed, fashion wise, and what the students have come up with. I mean, is amazing. You can see it on the GCR Adaptive P .org website of the students of like they made adaptive swimsuits. A couple made like adaptive like dresses and just to make it easier to take on and off on a daily basis. I'm like, yes, that's the thing. We have a disability, but we still like to look fashionable. We still like to go out, have a good time. We still date. It's just we need help. And you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It just may take a little longer, even with caregiver help. And so, and I'm like, and most importantly, we want to feel confident within our own skin. So I think that's so important. And I'm honored that Framingham, has decided to partner with the GCR Adaptive Project. Because I'm like, what other better school than to start with where I graduated from and I learned my knowledge of fashion skills, merchandising skills. So it's amazing what the kids, they processed everything. They like just created amazing, amazing things. Again, please check out the website. And it's like, it's awesome because I'm like, when they graduate now or get a job wherever, they're like, oh yeah, I know about adaptive fashion. I know
Yeah.
that, because I want to say, I think it was professor that told me that. I think it was a student, I forget her name, like went on to Nike and they was even impressed with, the adaptive clothing that she had made, in that class. And so that made me feel good because I'm like, that's what I want. So I'm looking to incorporate it in other universities, like, Mass Art, FIT. Because again, I'm like, it's so important. This adaptive fashion, they say in the next few years is going to be like $1 billion industry.
That's
So I'm like,
fantastic.
come on, let's go.
Yeah. And you're like right at the start of it. That's
Yes,
fantastic. Yeah.
yes, I would like to think so.
Yeah. The fashion department at Framingham is such a great alum base and just the connections there. I see it on LinkedIn, but that's a real strong affinity at Framingham State.
Yeah.
You stay in touch with a lot of people that you were in school with?
Yes, I do. I still like we follow each other on like Instagram,
Nice.
TikTok with all this technology. And looking back, I made a joke with one of my former classmates back then. I'm like, imagine when we was in Framingham, that's when like Facebook just was created.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're so old. So and then now it's Instagram and everything. But it was amazing because I was able to attend. I want to say it was a speaking engagement that the professor Singh who, and I want to say it was Arlene that they paid for transportation for me to come out to Framingham. It was like right before the pandemic. So it was like amazing because I'm like, that all worked out just in time. It was like, I want to say March and I was able to speak to the fashion students and the art students, and it was amazing just to be back on campus and to see how much has changed. I'm like to see Dunkin' Donuts there. I'm like
Yeah.
the cafeteria changed. I said, "Oh my goodness, look at this!" I was like, we missed out, so it was nice to see like everything kind of like revamped and now like you said, new technology. And I was like, wow, like Dunkin' Donuts. I'm like, they
Yeah.
got it made over here. So it was excited and just brought back so many memories and emotions of being back on campus because I'm like wow, I was walking up and down the stairs, like doing whatever. So it's like, it's how much we realize how much we take life for granted and how your life can change in an instance. But it was nice to be back on campus.
Yeah. I graduated in 97. So the changes,
Okay.
yeah, for me,
Oh, I could
and
imagine.
yeah, I mean, the Dunkin' is a daily stop for all of us that work on
Yeah.
campus. Yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
one of the
that was nice to
busiest.
see that. And someone
Yeah.
said I think there might have been a Starbucks before that.
Before that. Yep.
Wow. I was
Yep.
like, check them out.
You got to have the coffee and the caffeinated.
Yes.
That's yeah.
Yes. Soon, like Framingham's probably going to put in like a whole restaurant, maybe.
Yeah, it'd be nice. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, do you have some mentors that have helped you through this? I mean, I know, or have you kind of mentored yourself?
I would say I mentored myself, but I must say, like joining different groups, like on Facebook, like Boston business women, women helping women, entrepreneurship. I must say that has helped me along the way. It's all about. I tell people to this day, networking is key. I may not have known that when I was younger or take advantage of it, but networking and you never know who knows who and I have definitely did some accelerator programs in the past. I always tell people I recommend E for All. They are a great business accelerator program where they help businesses grow and adapt their business, and they even give out grants and funding. Like they are amazing. They truly, truly help you with your business and want you to succeed. So that is one accelerator program that I did about it was like last summer, and I just learned so much from them. And we still stay connected to this day with those mentors. So I still got some mentors from them. And again, just like I said, connecting with other people on social media and also other disabled business owners is amazing because, like I said, although I make it the support of family and friends, there's nothing like talking to somebody who gets and knows what it's like living with a disability every day. And then to find someone who, is doing like content creating and, running a business, I'm like, it's so dope and inspiring to see that.
That's great. Now, I assume in the next 5 years or 10, you want this to expand even more, right? That's the
I
goal?
hope so. The
Yeah.
plan is my goals, and all I can do is take it day by day. And my goals is to get Girls Chronically Rock into Target retail channels. I've been emailing Target buyers on a daily basis. I'm like, let's go. I even reached out to TJX corporations, which I know they have a good relationship with people at Framingham State, some of the professors. So I'm hoping they give me a chance. I'm looking to get Girls Chronically Rock in New York Fashion Week, LA Fashion Week. And then I'm looking to hopefully collaborate with one of my favorite designers I look up to, Tommy Hilfiger. I
Hmm.
would love to do a Girls Chronically Rock GCR times Tommy Hilfiger collaboration because I love it now. One of my designers that I looked up to, Tommy, now has an adaptive clothing collection, which I think is so dope. Because I'm like, to see like this designer I looked up to from small, I'm like, now he has an adaptive clothing collection for people with disabilities. So I'm like, that is so amazing. And I'm like, come on, we can do a collaboration. So I'm just hoping to maybe get his attention one way or another. But yeah, my goal is to build Girls Chronically Rock Empire. That's my goal, is to get it into, like I said, the retail channels and continue to grow from there. Same with the GCR Adaptive Project. Like I'm looking to get that into more universities and get this like a annual thing, like add it into the school's curriculum of creating adaptive fashion for disabilities. Because like I said, this is well known now. More designers are getting into it. Tommy Hilfiger, Target. So I'm like, let's go. The
Yeah.
world is inclusive.
I love this. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great. This is a great way to end the interview is on
Yeah.
that note. You're very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.